Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, B'Hashem HaMashiach, Yahweh Shai. That's in the name of the Most High Son, who the world calls Jesus Christ. We your brother's fire of God. I'm Ashwa Call.
Khan. Hey, this your brother Azariah.
This should call our boy.
Khan, and we about to just touch base with a couple things as we go into the Feast of Unleavened Bread. What we supposed to do, get leaven out the house. That goes all the way down to doctrines. Now we got a big tidbit we're gonna go into regarding the mixed multitude. We want to examine the narrative of the mixed multitude and just see if it's really saying what we've been buying into for all this time. And then we wanted to touch on something else. It's a little bit smaller, but brothers is making a very big deal out of it and telling sisters that the Most High is essentially gonna kill them for wearing pants. And that's
Talk about it.
But without further ado,
hey, so yeah, we're gonna get into it and we're gonna examine a couple of scriptures. We're gonna go straight to it, right? Hey, get for me Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 5. For edification's sake, you're gonna read it, but I'm gonna share my screen, family, and I'm gonna pull it up because I got some things that I want to point out in there.
What's the precept again, Salaki?
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 5.
22 and 5.
Yeah, Khan. Deuteronomy 22 and 5. So
be ready,
all right. 1 sec. Hey, go ahead and 1 second. Let me just pull it all the way completely up, my bro. And then for edification's sake. All right, go ahead,
Deuteronomy 22 and 5.
Right.
The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man.
See, the woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto the man. Why she got on pants? That's what these brothers say, making a big deal out of this, right? But now let's examine, right? Because that's what we're supposed to do. The Holy Spirit, right? The Holy Ghost is supposed to lead us into all truth. All right. So y'all brothers can see this, correct?
I can see it. It's kind of small, but I can see it.
Hold on. I'm going to make it bigger. That better?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So this is pertaineth to, right? This is H3627, right? So let's see what the word pertaineth to means, right? Vessel, right? So what particularly is a vessel, right? You know what a vessel is? Anybody know what a vessel is?
A vessel is like.
Let's see.
Let's go ahead, bring it out.
Let's see. Right. So a vessel. Let me. I'm gonna get the definition. Salakia. 1 second. Bear with me.
I got it for you too.
Hey, read that. If you got the definition, I appreciate that. Go ahead and read exactly what a vessel is.
Vessel.
Mm-hmm.
A ship.
Oh, it's a boat. It is a boat, right? Is a boat that a man uses to do his work on. All right.
Wow.
An instrument. An instrument is a tool. It's a weapon, right? The jewels. Another main implication, right? And you can tell it's a main implication because you got something to go with it right here. H5375, armor bearer, right? This is the main application for pertaining to, because should the woman go out to war in our scriptures, get Deuteronomy 1 and 18 for me, right? The woman going out to war, right? Stuff, thing, armor, right?
Deuteronomy 1 and 18.
Right. So Numbers 1 and 18.
Oh, Numbers 1 and 18. Salaki.
Right. Implement is a tool or a weapon also.
Numbers 1 and 18.
Right. Read on.
And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month.
Right. Read
and
on.
They declared their pedigrees after their families.
Right.
By the house of their fathers.
Right.
According to the number of names from 20 years old and upward by their poles.
Right. Read on.
As Yahweh commanded Moses, so he numbered them in the wilderness of Sinai.
Right. And the number by their pole, those are men of war age. All right. The women don't go fight war. Right. So that's what this is. That's what the vessel, right? The boat that he might be in, the weapon, the instrument of war, the tool, right? His armor. All right. Now watch this right here, right? Something prepared, i.e., an apparatus, as an implement, which is a tool, a utensil, another word for tool, dress, right? But when to dress something is not the modern term of what you think, because if you're saying that, then this is saying that a woman shouldn't wear a dress. Am I right? I mean, a woman, this is something that a man wears. That's what this is saying, right? And that it pertaineth to a man. But this dress right here is not what people think. This is like how you put ketchup and or horseradish or whatever on your hot dog and you dress it. Okay. Again, the major application, vessel or weapon, armor bearer, artillery bag, because the woman is not to go out to war. So that's what it means when it's talking about that which pertaineth to a man. Right? So now let's get another scripture that they go to. This is get Leviticus 6 and 10 for me.
Leviticus 6 and what?
6 and 10.
Con. Leviticus 6 and 10.
Right. Because I had a brother tell me, he said that breeches, right? Because your wife got on pants, breeches were designed for the sons of Levite, right? And the woman not supposed to wear that. Well, let's see if that's 100% accurate. Go ahead and read this.
Leviticus 6 and 10. And the priest shall put on his linen garment.
Right? So he's going to put on his linen garment first, right? Go ahead.
And his linen breeches shall he put upon his flesh.
And after he puts on his linen garment, under the garment, his linen breeches, shall he what?
Put upon his flesh.
Shall he put upon his flesh? Right? Read on. And
take up the ashes which the fire has consumed with the burnt offerings on the altar.
Right. Now jump over to Leviticus 16 and 14. And I'm going to pull it up too, right? Because I want to show something.
Leviticus what? My bad.
16 and 4. 16
and 4.
Right. Right.
Leviticus 16 and 4.
Right.
He shall put on the holy linen coat.
Mm-hmm.
And
he shall put on the holy linen coat. Read on.
And he shall have the linen breeches upon his flesh.
And he shall have the linen breeches upon his flesh. That means close to his flesh, right? Basically right on his skin with the coat, linen coat over it. Right? Read on.
And he shall be girded with a linen girdle.
And he shall be girded with a linen girdle. Why does the man have on a girdle?
God.
Right? All right. Now get one more precept, right? And then we're going to look at the etymology and see what breeches actually are. All right. Now get Exodus 28 and 42 for me.
Exodus 28, 42.
28 and 42, come.
Exodus 28 and 42. And thou shalt make them linen breeches to cover their nakedness.
To cover their nakedness. So hold on. The breeches is to cover your nakedness. Right? Now watch this. Watch the next part. Read on.
From the loins even unto the thighs they shall reach.
from the loins to the thighs. Is that a pair of pants?
It's like a pair of boxers.
Ah, Karnak, you in the spirit, right? But when you got your clip fully loaded, man, and you letting it off early, I was gonna get to that, right?
Con.
Hold on, man. This says that the it's the cover from your loins even unto your thighs. And it was to be right upon your flesh to cover your nakedness, right?
That's right.
Right? Okay. Now let's look at this word breeches real quick, right? H4370. Right? What does that say, Ak?
Right, I can't see it, Ak.
That says underwear drawers. See, the word, this is a thing called morphology of words, where words change meaning over time. Just like a hoe, right? We know colloquially, you know, what you call somebody a hoe, what that means. But a hoe is a tool that you dig the earth with. Okay? So words change meanings. Originally, trousers, they are undergarments. A priest's undergarment. Huh? Right? Y'all see that, family? Don't let nobody tell you, brother, that your woman can't be wearing pants. All right?
Bring that out, Doc.
All right? Because, again, it's a priest's undergarment. Now, you know what I want to do? Now, watch this, too. Now, remember underwear and drawers, right? Keep that in your mind. Keep that in your mind, family. Watch this. Now, this is the etymology of the word pants, right? Etymology meaning origin, okay? What does that say right there? Drawers, huh? Draws? Okay, right? Now, watch this. This is the word that it originally comes from, right here, right? And I'm going to read it. It says, 1660s, kind of tight like garment for men, consistent of breeches and stockings. Wow.
Oh, we.
For the woman not to wear stockings? And what originally a French fashion, right? Okay, that's not what I want. This is what I'm looking for. Let me see. And let me make this bigger too. Right? So right there, so everybody can see it. Breeches or stockings, right? The word was revived in reference to tight, long trouser button or tied below the knee, replacing knee breeches worn by men of old fashioned. You know, the old timey man. Hold on, I'm gonna show you exactly what this is, what knee breeches are, right? And I'm gonna show you a picture of men and women both wearing them too. All right. So let me go to my Google search. Salakia family. Let me get this real quick. Where's my Google search at?
I can see right now this teaching about to be real controversial.
Yeah, more than likely.
Right, that's right.
Hey, but we're gonna bring it out. It's for truth's sake, right?
Yeah, edification is very important. Gotta stop stressing people out if it ain't right.
That's right. Let me see. See, this is really what knee breeches look like, right? You see the old timey pictures when men had on pants like this, right?
Right.
Those are knee breeches. All right. So pants, so the word breeches or pants kind of replaced that, right? And they were gradually replaced by modern trousers. So in modern terms, this is what pants became to be known at. But in antiquity, the word breeches, right, or word pants right? It come from this word, which you can't find pants in the Bible anyway, by the way, right? But the word pants, right, was originally undergarment, and then the term shifted to what we now understand in modern terms as to wear pants. All right. Come on. So now watch this, right? Now this is a tunic, right? This is basically what our priests wore, garments similar to these, right? What does this look like to you, Ak? Huh? Both men and women wore similar garments in antiquity, right?
Look at that.
See that? Hold on. Ancient Hebrew garments, right? Let me go to images. Let me go to images. So and I mean you can find images. I'm looking for images of both men and women wearing similar garments. This one right here, right? The men got on the same type garment as the woman, right? But the breeches are the undergarments, right? All right. Hey, so now do me a favor, man. Get Romans 4:15 and hold that for me, Ak.
Romans 4:15.
Right? Romans 4:15, right? Right. So we've established that breeches are an undergarment, right? Now let's hold on. Let's see what a dress is real quick, right? I know we talked about it a little bit, right? And the Lord took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to dress it, right? That's to prepare it, to labor in it. That's what this word originally means, right? Let's get dressed, right? Hold that Romans 4:15 for me, barbecue shop, right? To serve, to do, to till, right? To work, right? The servant, to do the service of. That's what it means to dress. Like when you get dressed in the morning, you're getting prepared to do something, right? You're getting prepared for your day. That's why you get what? You get dressed. All right. Hey, so bring out that Romans 4:15 for me.
Romans 4:15. Because the law worketh wrath.
Because the law worketh wrath, right? The law do work wrath, right? Because there's judgments associated with it, right? If you transgress these laws, right? Read on.
For where no law is, there is no.
What? It says where what?
For where no law is.
Where no law is, right? Read on.
There is no transgression.
There is no transgression. So show me the law where a woman can't wear pants. She can't wear an undergarment? Huh? Oh, well, she can't wear a tunic? She can't wear stockings?
Talk about it, huh?
Are you kidding me? And what does it matter if in the 1800s they had a women's feminist movement? That had nothing to do with us anyway. That was the so-called Edomite woman going up against her man.
Sure.
Why y'all trying to use that? That doesn't matter that in the 19th century it was a feminist movement, and the Edomite woman wanted to dress similar to her man, right? But again, in antiquity, a tunic or a garment like Christ, it says that he had a garment down to his foot. Go ahead and get that, right? Let's get Revelations 1 and 14.
Revelations.
Bring it out, Doc.
Revelations 1 and 14.
Right, read that.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
Right, so his hairs was white like wool. Right, for any Christians watching, right, like our chief Ash, like the hair on the top of his head. I'm balding, so you know. But go ahead, I'll read on.
As white as snow.
As white as snow, right? Read on.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
Right, that's the fury that he got, man, when he come back. That's why he said in Matthew 10 and 34, he coming back with a sword. Read on.
And his feet like unto fine brass,
And his feet like unto fine brass. Read on.
as if they burn in a furnace.
As if they burn in the furnace, right? Read on.
And his voice as the sound of many waters.
Right. Keep going.
And he had in his right hand 7 stars.
Oh, Khan, Salakia. I missed the point there, right? Jump up to a point where it said he had the garment down to his foot, bro. That's what I meant to point out. Right? Verse 13, Salakia.
And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man.
Right, read on.
Clothed with a garment down to the foot.
Clothed with a garment down to his foot. And everybody knows in antiquity what type of garments we was wearing. So was Yahushua wearing that which pertained to a woman by having on a tunic? Right? As our dear beloved brother Deacon would say, hello? Huh? You hear that? So that's what it is, family. Where again, Romans 4:15 says, where there's law, where there's no law, there's no sin. Also, get Ecclesiastes 7 and 16 for me. Barbecue shot. 1 second, too, family.
Ecclesiastes.
Khan, bring it out.
Ecclesiastes 1 and 17.
No, Ecclesiastes 7 and 16. Salakia.
Salakia, my fault.
You good, my brother. See, and this the problem. This the problem with our people. We got a whole lot of other major stuff popping off, right? And we worried about whether a brother's wife got on pants, which is not breaking the law. I had a brother call me and said, "Man, oh, your wife wearing pants?" He said, I asked him. I said, "Man," he asked me. He said, "Is that against the law?" I said, "No, because it's not." And the Bible tells us to what? Prove all things. And we just prove what it is. We prove what breeches is, right? We prove what a dress is. We prove the proper application for pants and the etymology of it, where it originated from. And it originated from what it says in the scriptures, right? That they were drawers, undergarments.
Talk about it.
That's cut and dry. So get off brothers' comments, right, on their social media, right? Worrying about what another man's wife is doing. And this is what you're doing right here. Read that Ecclesiastes 7 and 16 now.
Be not righteous over much.
Be not what?
Righteous over much.
Be not righteous over much. You guys out here trying to be over righteous. Out here commenting, first of all, on something you shouldn't even be worried about anyway. Worried about how another man is handling his household. Making assumptions and applying them like it's fact. Right? I ain't gonna call the brother name, but he told me, he said, I failed at teaching my woman, that's why she wear pants. How could he know I failed at teaching my woman? Do you got some firsthand information? You got some proof? You just being a busybody, being a talebearer. You shouldn't be doing that. That's Leviticus. Go ahead, Al.
And while he's over here trying to make up a law, he's missing a vital law that's plain as day, bearing false witness against a brother.
That's what
absolutely. See that? While you too busy being over righteous, right? You missing a law that you need to be worried about keeping. Being a talebearer and bearing false witness. Talking about something that you couldn't possibly know about. You made an assumption and in your mind you want it to be true, right? Now, if you want your wife to wear pants, you run your house, that's fine. That is fine if that's what you want, right? But there's no law that you can point to say that the woman can't wear pants, right? Now go ahead and finish that precept up too for me. I'll finish bringing that out.
Be not righteous over much, neither make thyself overwise.
Right? Be not righteous over much and make thyself what?
Overwise.
Overwise. Now watch this. Get 2 Timothy 3 and 7. This line upon line right here for you, right? Precept upon precept and line upon line. All right?
2 Timothy 3 and 7.
That's right. Bring it out. See, we're going to get this leaven up out of here, man. All right?
Right
And this has
about
been a
it.
major stumbling block, and in my opinion, and here I fire God, right? A major stumbling block within our nation. Brothers too worried about whether another man's woman is wearing pants, bro. He ain't concerned about what Putin got going on over there in the Ukraine, right?
The more weightier matters.
Closer to our salvation.
Yeah, the more weightier matters. That's right.
Right, and the more weightier matters, like our Lord said. He said what? Judgment is coming, right? And faith, right? You worried about what's another man, woman doing. You better be trying to increase your faith, bro. Right?
That's right. That's right.
Because you're going to be saved by your faith and your works, by the way. Right? Not commenting on the board or on social media. And then look, I go to the brother's page, right? You know, because I had to see what the brother was about. And I look at the brother page who's commenting on my stuff, and he ain't got no woman on his page.
He was single and not ready to mingle.
Come on, man. Really? Really, bro? Where's your platform at? Are you teaching anybody anything? Are you too busy scoffing? Man, let me get off my soapbox now. Go ahead and let's get back to the precepts.
Talk about it, huh?
The brother was holding it in for a minute, too.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, hey, Chief, I've been holding it,
It'd be like
bring that out, though. We're gonna bring out a couple more precepts. I might go into a little bit more of a rant, right? And then we're gonna get to let our chief, he gonna get to the major matter at hand. Because honestly, this is a minor issue. What we actually got coming up is really a major stumbling block, right? And it's something that these other nations, the heathen, the Christian apologists, try to use against us and could potentially use against us. Kind of got us as a nation with our jaw open, right? Go ahead and bring that out, though.
2 Timothy 3 and 7. Ever learning, never able to come.
You said what now?
Ever learning.
Ever learning. See that? And that's why I said wise over much. Line upon line.
Precept upon precept.
And precept upon precept, right? Finish that precept out. Watch what it say.
Ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth.
And never fully able to come to the knowledge of this truth, right? Finish that. Watch this dagger.
Now, as Janus and Jambres withstood Moses,
right?
So do these also resist the truth.
Right, Con. That's not, you good right there. But it goes on to say later, right? From such people in this same chapter, you got to turn away from them. Right? So we're not gonna be dealing with that. I'm gonna get off this topic, and I'm gonna leave it there. All right. You see, because I'm gonna obey what the scriptures say, right? Since you ever learning and you wise over much, I'm gonna have to leave you alone, brother. All right. Right. And one more precept, right?
Bring it out.
Proverbs 11 and 1.
Proverbs 11 and
1. Proverbs 11 and 1. Yeah, because, you know, a lot of brothers, man, they get into this truth, right? They learn about the truth. They learn they Hebrew Israelites. That's fine, you know, and they get deep into the doctrine, right? And then all of a sudden, once they think they learned something, they've been in this truth 6 months, a year, 2 years, right? Then they want to get on the comment boards and teach on the comment boards, right? No, man, if you want to teach, man, set up a platform, right? Get out there in the chief concourses, like I tell you in Proverbs chapter 1, right? Get out there and get some blood off your hand, like I tell you in Ezekiel chapter 3. Get off the comment boards, right? Get your hand out of the Cheeto bag, okay? And do some work. All right? Read that now.
Proverbs 11 and 1.
Right?
A false balance is abomination.
It said a what?
A false balance is abomination.
A false balance. See, that's what you guys are. You falsely balanced because you're over righteous, right? And that's an abomination. That's something that the Most High hate. All right? No, sisters, you're not going to get destroyed for wearing pants.
Hey, a lot of camps teach that though, bro.
Absolutely. And that's leaven. That is leaven. And there's no biblical proof to back it up. Where's your scholarship, guys?
Wow. See that?
Put your work in, right? To find out what these things mean. You posting stuff on another man's comment where it tell you exactly what it is if you can read and comprehend. First of all, you're going to tell me it's pants when it says that breeches was to cover the Levi's priests from their loins to their thighs. And you're going to tell me that that's pants. And then I go in the blue letter, right, and look at the Hebrew application for it, and it's the undergarment form. So a woman don't get to wear underwear?
Wow.
Come on, man. We got to do better than this.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. That's running sisters away, as a matter of fact.
That's right. See that? And you being and then, man, it's like our Lord when he criticized and chastised the scribes and the Pharisees in Matthew chapter 23 and called them hypocrites. You putting burdens on these sisters that they can't possibly bear. What you gonna try to tell me if your rib got a job which requires us to wear pants on the job? You gonna tell her, oh no, baby, you can't do that. Right? Is that what you're gonna do? You're gonna tell all these sisters out here who's single and currently don't have a husband that they gotta quit the job that they on because it requires them to wear pants? That's how they taking care of their kids? You guys pathetic with that.
Go in, all right.
Y'all better stop that out there.
Man. Let our sisters live out here, man.
Y'all better stop that out there. Y'all better stop that.
Stop that, man. Right? We getting close to the end. So Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, man, is bringing out new revelations all the time, right? And making the prophecies unfold, right? Our salvation closer than we once believed, but yet we worried about can a woman wear pants? Man, this should be a dead issue after this. But you know what? It ain't gonna be a dead issue. I can hear the video responses now. Oh, them niggas at Fire God, y'all going off. Come on, Ak.
Hey, they're gonna be standing in somebody's back alley somewhere talking to the rats.
Right. You see what I'm saying? Prophesizing to nobody. See, you niggas going off, man. But no, man, y'all get y'all life right and remember that a false balance is an abomination to the Most High. And be not righteous over much, and don't be ever learning. All right. And then the main thing is, man, is get up off the couch on social media, right? Eating a whole bag of Lay's tater chips, right? Drinking a whole gallon of Kool-Aid. While you sit there commenting on other brother's woman, and this brother actually got a woman, you don't, and the brother might be putting in work. All right? So with that being said, I'm going to get off my rant, Chief. All right?
I'm going to keep it going a little bit, to be honest, because you said something real important. Brothers being in church 6 months and want to be telling another brother what he should be doing in his household. Meanwhile, this brother's name is built up of 2 different Hebrew dialects, maybe even 3.
Right.
Brothers be Yehuda, Yahweh, Yasharallah. You know what I'm saying? And then it just tells you where the mindset of these brothers is at. And what did James 1:8 says? There's a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. I'm going to tell you right now, that's a double-minded man that got them 3 different Hebrew dialects in his name.
Mm-hmm. So
a lot of times we got to slow it down and we got to be quick to just shut up and absorb and pick out the bones.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And there is a law that you can go to if you want your woman to dress in a certain attire.
That's
but
right.
The problem is you guys are looking for a footing to where you can gain strength where you ought not. Right? What's Deuteronomy 4:2 say? Shakar, can you get that for me? Deuteronomy 4:2. Now you worried about your woman getting destroyed for wearing leggings.
Right.
That's a man's garment. The brother
absolutely
told me,
stockings or leggings. By the way,
look and see if her butt look right. I said, let me find out. You be putting on your pants, jumping up and down trying to fit that ass in.
Right. Staring at your own butt.
Up to fasting looking ass boy. These men are bugged out. See, there's different pants with different cuts. The sister just said it in the comment in the comments. What she said? She said, "Thank you. As a female, I shop in the women's department. I shop in the women's department, not the men. And the garments in the women's department are for women, and that should be real easy to understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then if a woman does want to wear baggier pants, then it's a problem on that note, because what brothers will say is pants are not modest. So if she can find some modest pants, is that then okay?
Right.
That's the problem with adding to the law. You got to keep adding and adding. But with that, go ahead and bring out that Deuteronomy 4 and 2.
Con. Deuteronomy 4 and 2. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you. Neither shall you diminish aught from it.
You shall not.
That ye may keep the commandments of Yahweh, your living power, which I command you.
And it's real simple. So now let's get 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. So if brothers don't want their women wearing pants, this is where you do go in the Bible, where it does talk about where your preference matters or not. Because people will go to that law.
Bring that out. All praises.
Brother Azariah broke down the law, right? And you'll break the law down and say, see, it doesn't say a woman can't wear pants. And what do they say? Well, nature implies that the woman's crotch regions need to breathe. You don't add but to the law. If the law says unless or but or something like that, then you read that and you take out of that what you are to do or not to do. But you don't say but. What you're implying then is that the Most High, he's not smart as you. That's what you're implying at that point.
Right. And can I read a precept? This go into what I say, barbecue shop, real quick before you bring that out. If you don't mind, my brother.
Bring it out.
Con. This is 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 1. It says, likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands. Right?
Look at that.
That's right. If any obey not the word, they also may be without the word, but won by the conversation of their wives, right? But the main thing is obeying the word. Okay? So you trying to basically tell my wife what she should be doing when she in subjection to me. Go ahead, Op.
1 Corinthians 11 and 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is the Mashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of the Mashiach is the living power.
Right. This is an order and structure. Where do we get that order and structure from? We get Genesis 3 and 16.
Okay.
Order and structure ordained by the Most High.
I got Genesis 3 and 16 for you.
All praises. Bring that out when you're ready.
Come. Hey, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 3 and verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception in sorrow. And thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband.
And what's that last part say?
And he shall rule over thee.
He shall rule over thee. So the problem with this scripture is that there's no problem with the scripture. It's the problem with a lot of you niggas, you Hispanics and you Native Americans that don't know how to keep these laws is you don't believe these scriptures. And so you look for a way to get dominance over women when really all you got to do is believe in the Most High and operate within your function. Do what you're supposed to be doing and leading your household, baby. You know, I don't want you wearing pants. This is the situation I want to set up.
That's right.
Period, point blank. I know in my household, I told my baby, look, I don't care if you wear pants. Wear a long shirt so that booty covered.
That's right.
And guess what? It's much easier. And with that, you know, she gets the idea of wearing a dress. She knows that I would like her to wear more dresses. And she's able to do that with joy and a smile on her face. Also, without having to jump outside into this new world that she never had to operate in before, because somebody bullied her and said, God said, if you don't, you're going to die in the lake of fire.
Right.
So now what do I get? I get to keep the commandment myself. I get to not break the commandment by adding to the word of the Most High God. Then I get the cooperation and I get my wife striving to adhere to a dress code that I set up. Why? Because I believe the law of the Most High God. That's what it takes, is for you to believe in that law, walk in that law, teach your household according to that law, not adding to it so you could get your way because you scared your little baby nuts ain't big enough for your wife to respect you. That's what's
right.
going on in a lot of these households. That's what's going on behind a lot of these keyboards. Is your nuts ain't dropped yet. You just heard men are supposed to have them.
Right.
I don't respect it, and no one should.
That's
Right. We have to man up and do the things that the law, statutes, and commandments and commanded. I'm just going to read 1 Corinthians 14 and 34 through 35. If brothers ain't understood that this is the law and the power that the Most High done ordained. Let your women keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded. This is the part that we harping on. They are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. And I'm going to drop it right there. They are commanded to be this way. And then not only that, if they don't read the Bible, a lot of the times a woman just wants you to take the reins to begin with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's big fact. That's important. That the sister is to learn in silence at home from her husband. And then you take advantage of that and mentally manipulate her, telling her that she has to do something that's not found in the law.
Big con.
And then big problem. Then tell her if she don't do it, she gonna get burnt in the lake of fire. Wow.
They go to whoever shall be found wearing strange apparel.
Right.
You kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
So, I will admit, though a woman oftentimes wants you to take the reins, we got to also take into account, you can't be the type of man where your woman got to strap you into your little baby car seat when y'all go to the store, and then you want to bark orders from the back seat.
Right.
So there's a certain level of maturity that brothers have to have, but that starts with being bold enough to stand on the laws of the Most High God before you even get to worrying about what a woman is doing. And if you can't comprehend those things, then you definitely ain't got no business trying to command some other man's household and tell some other brother what he should be doing. What do Yahushua say? Get that mote out your own eye.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
But unless you brothers had anything you wanted to add to the matter, we definitely shall move forward.
Khan, I mean, I think we covered it, and I appreciate you expounding on that. That was beautiful too, King.
Really
Hey,
was.
You went in, brother. It filled me with the fire of God.
Khan.
Khan.
So yeah, we don't got that. Again, I'm just gonna reiterate to all of the Aquath out there: don't let any brother out here manipulate you and tell you that you cannot wear pants. That is unlawful, and by doing that, you're gonna be destroyed. You should ask him to prove it. Right? Play this video back so you understand these precepts too, sisters. Right? And you'll
have him sit there and watch it.
Right? And watch how you flee when you start cutting them. All right?
Yeah, when you courting a brother, you should ask him. You should ask him to break down the Deuteronomy.
Yeah, break down Deuteronomy 22 and 5, Leviticus 6 and 10. All right. That's what you should ask him first. I need to know your stance on that. Right? And then if he say, see, breeches, those are pants. Yeah, all right. You have a nice day.
It's going to tell you two things. He's either just listening to everything somebody said without doing the research, or he's too scared to just tell you he prefer that you wear a dress. And those are both signs of you don't want him as a leader in your household. Oftentimes us coming into the truth, we're going to be guided, and there are some things that we are going to take the word from our teachers, but we are going to dig in. And when we dig in and we study the things that we're taught, we're going to challenge our leaders and teachers for the sake of sharpening ourselves, because we're supposed to seek out salvation in fear and trembling. So, just keep that understanding and guide your relationships with some of that new information in mind. That's right. Brother Shakar, if you can, give me Exodus 12 and 1, Baba Kushah. We're going to talk about the mixed multitude. There is a narrative that a big mass of Gentiles was led into the wilderness when we left Egypt. And, I'll be quick to say my view on it is, if there was in fact a mixed multitude, we know for a certainty they died in Numbers 11. But my challenge for you is to look at the narrative altogether, and let's find out if any Gentiles, any mixed multitude actually even made it to that point. That's what we're going to examine today, because there's a lot of, scriptures we use in the so-called New Testament that are is very important. It is very important that we examine this narrative, because we can't use those precepts if in fact there was a mixed multitude, like First Corinthians chapter 10 verse
Right.
1.
We were, right. Absolutely.
Bring that out real quick for me, Azariah, if you can.
Get it. Me.
Then we'll jump into it.
First Corinthians 10:1. Moreover, brethren,
Go ahead.
Key word, brethren, right? If I could, I'm gonna share my screen. Salakia.
Come on. I'm actually cool if you do that, because I don't
I got you. I'll keep my screen shared, and I'll bring up the precepts for edification's sake.
All praises.
All right. Y'all see that? Everybody see that?
I see it.
Come on, family. All right. It says, moreover, brethren. Keyword, brethren. I would not that you should be ignorant, how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea.
So the point is that we go here and we say, how do we know that these so-called Gentiles are actually Israelites? Boom, we go here. It says our fathers were who all left during the Exodus. And there's a little bit of a cognitive dissonance in that argumentation if we gonna hold fast to the fact that there was at some point a mixed multitude that died after passing through the Red Sea. Right. So that's why it's important for us to address this, because we got to remove all cognitive dissonances from out of our argumentation so that we can't be gainsaid. But going to Exodus 12:1, Brother Shakar, I want you to read through 20, and we just gonna follow the narrative of the Passover and get a quick glimpse of what it was that was going on during that time. We're gonna look into some linguistics. We're just gonna take our time with it.
Exodus 12:1.
Mm-hmm.
And Yahweh spoke unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
Mm-hmm.
It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Yasharallah, saying, in the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house.
10th day you get the lamb, you set the lamb aside. Go ahead.
And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the numbers of the souls.
Sharing is caring. If that lamb is too big, then share with your neighbor.
All praises.
Because we're not supposed to leave any of it behind until the morning, right? Go ahead.
Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats.
Separating the sheep from the goats.
Mm-hmm.
And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Yasharallah shall kill it in the evening.
The whole assembly of the congregation of Yashar Allah, the princes of power. Go ahead.
Right.
And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it.
Let his blood be upon us. Go ahead.
That's right. Khan. Just thinking that.
And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread.
Mm-hmm.
And with bitter herbs they shall eat it.
Mm-hmm.
Eat not of it raw, nor sudden at all with water.
So you can't put it in the crock pot and slow cook the thing. You have to roast it with fire, is what it's saying. Go ahead.
Come on.
But roast it with fire, his head with his legs, with his putenance thereof.
The pertinence.
purge thereof, Salakia,
That's all
with the
good.
purge thereof. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning. And that which remaineth of it until the morning, ye shall burn with fire.
Mm-hmm.
And thus shall you eat it with your loins girded,
Mm-hmm.
your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And ye shall eat it in haste. It is Yahweh's Passover.
Now I want you to keep in mind that haste. We're going to be eating the Passover with the shoes on our feet and our staff in our hand, ready to go. Why? Because there's going to be a mass ejection. And we're going to
Absolutely.
demonstrate this through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem outside, that there's a mass ejection. So it's not just an exodus where we get up and we leave lackadaisically singing tra la 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 la. We get booted up out of there.
Con.
Right? So keep reading.
Salakia. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborns in the land of Egypt. I'm
gonna kill the firstborn of Egypt so bad that some of you want to come with the people that I killed you for. I'm just inserting that there for laughs, but you know,
Right, absolutely.
Just keep
all
reading.
of the firstborn got killed. That means everybody. That means the so-called mixed multitude. If they were with us allegedly, that means the Most High Yahweh killed their firstborn too. But yet they want to come with us.
Keep reading. I'm gonna give me some water real quick. Fire at will.
Con, I got you. Go ahead and read on.
And will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast.
Both man and beast, right? That's why he said against the children of Israel, right? Shall not a dog move his tongue, right? Against man and beast, right? He killed their beast and left our beast alive, right? Our animals. Read on.
And against all the gods of Egypt, I will execute judgment.
Right, and against all the fake gods of Egypt, right? Ra, right? Osiris, for all you Egyptologists out there.
Killer.
All right.
Lord
gonna destroy these guys, right? Read on.
I am Yahweh.
Right? Because he's the most high Yahweh. Right? Read on.
And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where you are.
Right. So the token of the Passover was the blood. All right. Right. Which the token of our salvation is the blood that our Lord Yahweh Shai shed. Right. Which is going to usher us into that new covenant, which, by the way, is for Israel, according to Hebrews 8:8 and Jeremiah chapter 31. By the way, for any Christians who might be listening, read on.
I see, Salakia, my bad. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and plague, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt.
When he smite the land of Egypt.
My bad, I got it.
Okay, go ahead. I
appreciate you, brother. So anybody who wasn't commanded to do this, because he didn't go to these Egyptians and command them to do this. He went to our neighborhood in Goshen and told them to do this. So anybody that's not hearing this commandment isn't going to know to get this protection. The same way when Yahweh Shai came and said he's not been sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, he didn't go nowhere where no Israelites were not at. So the things that he commanded were for the sake of the deliverance of the lost sheep of the house of Israel. In this same particular sense, Moses is being sent, and he's being the instrument to deliver the Israelites. And he's telling them to put this blood on their doorposts so that when the Most High passes through, there won't be any harm on our children, but on the children of the Egyptians. Can you read it?
And this day shall be unto you for a memorial. And ye shall keep it a feast to Yahweh throughout your generations. Ye shall keep a feast by an ordinance forever. 7 days shall you eat unleavened bread. Even the first day you shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day unto the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Yashrael. Salakia.
Hey, do me a favor, Brother Shakar, and read it verbatim.
Read it as is. Got you.
Yeah.
Salaki. And in the first day there shall be a holy convocation, and in the seventh day there shall be an holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, the only may be done of you. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in the self same day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore ye shall observe this day in your generation by the ordinance forever.
And if I may, right here, it says your armies out of the land of Egypt. By the way.
Now let's skip to verse 21 and read through 27.
You say, Salaki, what you say?
Skip to verse 21 and read through 27, Baba Kusha.
21.
Yeah, we just giving them a quick rundown. There ain't really much of a breakdown coming to them right here. We just want to give them a quick rundown of how these events transpired so they can get a total picture before we get to breaking down these little minute details.
Then Moses called for all the elders of Salakia. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel, and unto them draw out and take you a lamb according to your families, and kill the Passover. And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning. For the Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians, and when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, the Lord will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your houses to smite you. And ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever. And it shall come to pass when ye be come to the Salakia, and it shall come to pass when ye be come to the land which the Lord will give you, according as he has promised, that ye shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass when your children shall say unto you, what mean ye by this service? That ye shall say, it is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses and the people who bowed the head and worship.
Keep reading.
And the children of Israel went away and did as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they.
So they're about to do exactly what the Most High said. They didn't cut no corners and add to the law, right? Because then that spirit wouldn't pass over their houses.
That's right.
And it came to pass that at midnight, the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of the cattle. That's heavy.
That's even the firstborn of the dungeon. That goes back to Salakia, kind of what I said. So you're trying to tell me Yahweh killed the firstborn of all the Egyptians. I'm talking everybody. It didn't matter if you was a captive and thrown in a prison.
From another nation.
From another, and yeah, Kyle, you could have been from another nation. He was killing your firstborn if you was in the land of Egypt. Go ahead, Salakia.
And all the firstborn of the cattle. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians. And there was a great cry in Egypt. But
so there was great weeping and a great cry in Egypt. All praise. Let's see what the Hebrews say on cry real quick. I meant to go into that.
Okay, I got you.
Let's get fully encapsulated in this narrative.
So this is the word cry in the Hebrew. And it means cry, outcry against, cry of distress.
we gonna see what it took. We're gonna see what it looks like when somebody's so fed up with the Israelites that they cry against them. Right? We're gonna see the things that transpire after this crying out against the children of Israel. But keep
Right.
reading on. Let's go back to the narrative.
And there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead.
Wow. It said, so every house in Egypt was affected by this.
And he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, rise up, get ye forth from among my people.
Get from among my people. So now we're gonna see what it looks like, because what I see when I read this narrative is that a separation begins. You know, there's already a bit of a separation and there's discrimination happening against the children of Israel by the hand of the Egyptians. But I'm gonna show you something very key. Go ahead.
Rise up and get ye forth from among my people, both ye and the children of Israel, and go serve the Lord as ye have said. Also, take your flocks and your herds as ye have said, and be gone.
Take your flocks and your herds as ye have said, and be gone. Now that's important too. Go ahead.
And bless me also. And the Egyptians were urgent upon the people.
Pause. So the Egyptians were urgent upon the people. How do you get urgent upon somebody? Going to that Hebrew, what we're going to see is the Hebrew word Strong's H2388 Kazakh. That's what we should be looking at.
H2388 Hazak.
There we go.
Right, H23 Hazak. Some of the strong repair, but let's just get to the biblical outline. To strengthen, to prevail
upon,
to harden
upon. We're not talking about that next song too close. These people harden themselves against the children of Israel. Go ahead, keep reading them. Be strong upon, become strong upon the children of Israel. So they cried out. There was an outcry. And when the time came to eject the Israelites within the narrative, it says that they were urgent upon them, meaning that they were strengthened against them. They prevailed upon, they were hardened upon them. They became strong upon them. It says, be courageous, be firm upon them. So they were pressing the Israelites. They were pressing them. Very important that we hold on to this. Just the physicality of it all, because it's different than just walking with somebody side by side like we buddy. Very important that we hold on to this, family. Keep going.
Right.
And the Egyptians were urging upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste, for they said, we be all dead men.
Now, to send them out in haste. That's the next part I wanted to touch on. So let's get send. That should be Strong's H79, 71. Shalak.
All right, got you. To send. Shalah.
So they were urgent, they were strong. They basically were strong arming the children of Israel to send them. We just want to go into the definition. To send. To
send. Send away. Let go.
Stretch out. Direct.
To send away.
Now, how do you direct somebody? You know, you can point. Right. But what we're going to see that the narrative doesn't fit that definition. Right. When you stretch out and direct, you point and say that away, the narrative doesn't fit that. So another way you could direct somebody is to just go with them, assist them. But we're going to see to shoot forth, shoot them out. Eject them, right? That's why I said it's a mass ejection. But let's see if the narrative fits that.
Right.
You see where it says cast out?
Yeah,
toss somebody out like Uncle Phil used to do jazz.
Right. That's a physical thing.
So we're looking at the physicality of it. They were strong upon the children of Israel. They were pressing them as they directed them to send them out of the land of Egypt. Let's keep going. Let's read the narrative. Let's keep reading the narrative.
And the people took their dough before it was leavened, their kneading troughs.
Kneading troughs?
Kneading troughs, Salakia. Their kneading troughs, being bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders.
Right.
And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such thing as they required, and they spoiled the Egyptians.
So they lent unto them. Going to the Hebrew on lent.
I got you. You want the Hebrew word for lent, right? Got you.
So we have that these people, they cried out against the children of Israel. They lamented angrily, sorrowfully. Then they became emboldened as to grow strong against the children of Israel, to press the children of Israel, to send them, to cast them out of the land of Egypt. Now the Israelites are spoiling them for more goods. They are lending to them. They are being asked by the Israelites for more things, or they're having more things taken from them by the Israelites, in addition to the cattle that the Most High told them to take, and that Pharaoh mentioned, take your cattle with you, remember? So it's their cattle, and it's all this extra shit that they're going to take with them out of Egypt. Right, go ahead.
And the Lord gave the people, Salakia, where was I at?
Verse
okay, I got you.
37.
I got you, Salakia. And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot.
So they journeyed from Ramses to Succoth. Now we just gonna pause right there. Now, because I'm not too privy to the technology, I'm gonna just read a little bit about my findings about Succoth. What I found was that the consensus is that it's probably the Egyptian location of Thuku. That's spelled Thuku.
Spell that again for me. I'm gonna try to pull it up. Right.
Type in Thuku Succoth. Like, just type them in side by side, and I'm gonna just keep reading this.
Spell Thuku for me.
Thuku.
And Shakar.
Succoth, yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Just so that the family can see I'm not making this up. And I don't know if you might want to remove the dash, but it looks like they know what I'm talking about. The Jewish Encyclopedia, I did get some of this from, so that might be the best place to go. But I'm just going to read this. It says probably the Egyptian location of Thuku, otherwise phrased Tuku, of the district of Python, according to the Jewish Encyclopedia, which cites Eber's Insight for Egyptisch Sparak. I can't even say it. It's in Latin, but that's the source. And then there's other sources, like you go into the Bible Atlas. You could go into Bible.
And here it is right here for edification's sake, right?
Yeah. Going into that. So that's exactly what I was reading, that top part where it's highlighted at. Long story short, it says that Succoth is in Egypt.
Absolutely. In Egypt. Key word. They went from the city of Ramses, right? One of the chief cities, to Succoth. They hadn't left Egypt yet, from what the narrative is pointing us to. Go ahead,
That's right. So the narrative, if we could just recap the narrative, all the firstborn in Egypt are killed at this point, even the prisoners. That much we can surmise. Then there's an outcry. Pharaoh is mad, tells the Israelites, get the hell out of here, essentially. Now the people, whoever he's tasked to escort the Israelites, have become strong. They are pressing the Israelites to leave, to eject them out of the land of Egypt.
And Salakia, he says to and be gone to bless me, because they like, bro, we cursed. Y'all got to go. That's why he said, take your flocks and your herds as you have said, and be gone and bless me. Right?
So now we have to take into account they're not just leaving on foot with their children, they're taking their cattle and they're taking these extra goods. How long do you think it's going to take the Israelites to go get all their stuff, the stuff that belongs to them, that is already theirs, and then take a journey to somebody else's house and say, hey, let me get your stuff, run the bag, and then the people's just going to sit there while they are in a hurry for the Israelites to leave, but they're sitting back and just letting them take the stuff? Which is more likely to happen? Are they, you take the shit, we putting it in the bag for you, just get out of here? What's more likely? They're going to be following the Israelites around, as the narrative states when we look into the linguistics, pressing them, or are they just going to sit back and let the Israelites leave in a leisurely like fashion? Right. So we see the narrative saying that the Israelites are being pressed to go, which would tell me that they're being escorted to this border that's still in Egypt, right? Why do I say that? Keep reading. Why do I say they're escorted? Go ahead.
About 600,000 on foot. There were men besides children. And a mixed multitude went up also with them.
And a mixed multitude went up also with them. Go ahead.
And flocks and herds, even very much cattle.
They needed help to get to that border. That's in a hurry. They were being pressed to take all that stuff and to get out of the land of Egypt. While they're crying out against these people, they don't want to see them again. That's what the mixed multitude is doing there. That's and I'm right. Tell you, family, that when I read this narrative, that's the last time we see that mixed multitude.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna be the first one to call it. We will see a woman. We will see a woman in the wilderness who has a son, who is a baby of an Egyptian. Right. So she's an Israelite woman who has a baby, and the father's an Egyptian. We don't see that father there. We do see that. We do see strangers amongst the Israelites after they had long dealt with the harlot Rahab. There's strangers amongst the Israelites at that point. But this whole mixed multitude narrative that the Most High ejected the Israelites and some Gentiles wanted to come with them and be friends with them and serve the Most High God, we just don't see that narrative. We see the Israelites being escorted strong on and pushed to the border, escorted with all their belongings and the things they spoiled the Egyptians for, to the border, out just on the border of Egypt before they left in Succoth. Even when we look at the geographical findings from today's science, so-called. So with that, you know, let's continue.
And can I add something before you continue?
Sure.
Right. Now, if this is our exodus up out of Egypt, and Yahweh partially did this to deliver us and so that his name will ring bells throughout the earth, right? Now, this is foreshadowing, right, or similar to the exodus that we're going to have when we get up out of here, Babylon. Am I right? So this is Jeremiah 23, right? Jeremiah 23:7, it says, therefore, behold, the day cometh, saith the Most High, that they shall no more say that the Most High Yahweh liveth, which brought up the children of Israel, not
in the mixed multitude up.
The mixed multitude up. This say the children of Israel up out of the land of Egypt. Now watch the contrast, right? But the Lord liveth, which brought up and led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country. These two things are parallel. Ain't no heathens coming with us up out of here. So why would we think that some heathens came with us when we were leaving up out of the land of Egypt? That makes no sense. I just wanted to point that out through the spirit out.
No, that's good. That's good because
let me-
it don't make sense. And the little sense that anybody can make out of it, we're gonna use what's called the Rogerian argumentation. Thanks to the brother Deacon Hakar going of the Sakari, we're gonna use the Rogerian argumentation, and we're gonna bring those arguments to light, and we're gonna debunk those by just following the narrative.
Let me jump on there right
Sometimes
quick.
that's all we gotta do.
That part where he said, no longer will they be considered the Lord who brought them out of the land of Egypt, but out of the land of North. So he letting you know, however phenomenal and magnificent that was, it's gonna be in short comparison to what he's finna do for us now.
Right.
So we should in no way be looking at Isaiah 14 and thinking that it's gonna be a friendly event where the Gentiles are cleaving unto us, unless we think somehow we can find within this narrative that that's what happened when we left Egypt. So now let's fast forward, and we're gonna go to the book of Numbers 11.
Numbers 11.
You know, because this is the next time we're supposed to see or hear about this mixed multitude.
So-called mixed multitude, right?
Yeah, start at verse 4. Actually, start at go ahead and start at the top.
At 1.
Yeah, we might as well.
And when the people complained, it displeased the Lord.
And when the people
Lord
complained,
heard
it displeased the Lord. Go ahead.
And the Lord heard it, and his anger was kindled. And the fire of the Lord burned among them and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp.
Mm-hmm.
And the people cried unto Moses. And when Moses prayed unto the Lord, the fire was quenched. And he called the name of that place Taberah.
Right.
Because the fire of the Lord burned among them.
So it was already a rebellious bunch that already got burnt up. And these was obviously Israelites.
And pause right quick, y'all. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, give me a second, bro. Excuse me right quick.
Come.
We in Numbers 11 and 3.
All right, y'all can still hear me?
Yeah, I still hear you.
All right, hold on. Let me do a little something. All right, cool. Let's continue in that Numbers when the brother's ready.
Come. I'll read until he's ready.
Okay, cool.
Come. And they called and verse 3, and he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of the Lord burnt among them. Verse 4, and the mixed multitude was amongst them fell a lusting.
So the mixed multitude that was amongst them fell a lusting. So if anybody ever brought up the mixed multitude to me before, I simply say, well, they was burnt up and they died in Numbers chapter 11. But let's look at that word mixed.
Right. And if I can add, it says, and the mixed multitude that was among them, who were they among? The people.
Mm-hmm.
So Israel.
So for the sake of argumentation,
right,
in favor of the brothers that do believe there was a mixed multitude, that would imply that there was a mixed multitude amongst our congregation.
Mm-hmm.
But what we want to look at is linguistically, these two things don't match up.
So you want mixed, right?
Yeah.
This is H.
Yeah, there you go. That's what we need right there. That asuf.
So mixed multitude, outline of biblical uses, collection.
Rabble.
A rabble.
Mm-hmm.
Collected multitude.
Mm-hmm. You see the Strong's definitions. It says gathered up together, a promiscuous assemblage of people. Mm-hmm. So this is talking about troublemakers amongst the Israelites that are raising hell and complaining, weeping, saying, who shall give us flesh to eat? The ungrateful ones. That shouldn't be too hard for us to imagine. We shouldn't need no heathen to be amongst us, and in order for us to imagine being ungrateful.
That's right.
We see plenty of instances in the wilderness where it's the children of Israel complaining. Right? Let's hold that and get Numbers 33.
Numbers 33.
Yeah, Numbers 33, verses 1 through 3. Just so that we can revisit, the narrative. That's all. See if we can make some highlights.
All praises.
These are the journeys. Yeah, let's see that.
Numbers 33 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
These are the journeys of the children of Israel, which went forth out of the land of Egypt.
The children of Israel that went forth out of the land of Egypt. Go ahead.
Highlighting that. Children of Israel, which went forth again to reiterate out of the land of Egypt, not a mixed multitude.
Go
ahead, Art.
Which went forth out of the land of Egypt with their armies up under the hand of Moses and Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
And Moses wrote their goings out according to their journeys by the commandment of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And these are their journeys according to their goings out. And they departed from Ramses in the first month, on the 15th day of the first month. On the morrow after the Passover, the children of Israel went out with an high hand in the sight of all the Egyptians.
So this is important. This is very important. I want who can get that for me in the NLT? I want to get that in the NLT and the GNT. Just that one verse that you just read about the high hand.
Got you. This is Numbers 33 and verse 4. Meanwhile, the Egyptians were burying their firstborn sons.
So the Egyptians are burying their firstborn sons. The ones that are indisposed. Go ahead.
Right. Whom the Lord had killed the night before. The Lord had defeated the gods of Egypt that night with great acts of judgment.
Mm-hmm. Now, which one is that? That's the NLT. Let's get that NLT. In the GNT real quick.
Now you want the GNT kind. I'm gonna pull it off the internet. Give me 1 second.
That's all good.
That's Numbers. What verse was that? That's 4 high. Verse 4 kind.
Salakia, that's verse 3.
That was verse 3? Salakia. 33 and 3. Let me see. Hold on. Let me just go to Google. Yeah, that's what I want. Salakia family, bear with me. Why is it? I said Numbers 33 and 3. Why does it bring up Jeremiah 33 and 3? No, that's Genesis. Let me see something. Let me go to the gateway and then just go to it right here. Salakia. I should have just did this first. What, this doesn't have numbers in it or something? Hold on. Numbers 33 and 3 in the GNT. The people of Israel left Egypt on the 15th day of the first month of the year, the day after the Passover.
Mm-hmm.
Under the Lord's protection, they left the city of Ramses. Let me make this bigger too, Salakia.
Yeah, this is going to emphasize what happened in the narrative.
Salakia, under the Lord's protection, they left the city of Ramses in full view of the Egyptians.
In the full view of the Egyptians. So now we're going to recap one more time. So there's a cry that goes throughout all of Egypt because the firstborn are killed. Boom. Now they're pressing the Israelites to leave Egypt after Pharaoh commands them to go. They're pressing them. The Israelites spoil them and they eject them out of the land with their cattle. They take them and their cattle to the border, and the Israelites leave from there in full view of the Egyptians. That's the breakdown. In full view of the Egyptians.
Absolutely. They escorted them.
So now let's go back into Numbers 11. We just looked at the linguistics. We just looked at that word rabble. We're gonna look at that again.
Con, you want me to get the etymology of that word, the definition for rabble?
Yeah, just one more time in Numbers 11.
Con, I got you. I need mixed, right?
Yeah, you right there.
Right here, con. Right? Calculation, rabble. And I want to say, just like you heard the term rabble rousers, right? Con. And let me see if I can do let me see. Right. So it says a disorderly crowd. Y'all see this?
So a disorderly crowd gathered together, a promiscuous assemblage. Whenever we entertain the idea of Israelites going off when it comes to obeying the Most High, what do we think of? We think of adultery.
That's right.
So this is a group of people that are capable of committing adultery against the Most High. They're promiscuous. That's what it's calling these people. But if we revisit where the narrative starts off in Exodus 12 and 38, if you can, fellas, we're going to go into the Hebrew there too. When you go in there, when it talks about mixed multitude in the Hebrew, you have Arab, which the word Arab comes from, which means mixed or woven together.
Talk about it.
Asufsuf, which means or Salaki, you see Arab, which means mixed or woven together, and then you have Rab, which means multitude. Properly translated as mixed multitude. It makes sense there. But that's the last time you see that until you read about the Israelites separating from the mixed multitude during the time of Nehemiah, because they had at that point been dealing with the heathen again. Right? Yeah. You see this? Knitted material, mixture, mixed people. But you don't see that in Numbers 11.
That's right. It's not the same thing because it was a mixed multitude because it was the Israelites, probably some of them who was trying to cleave, but really the people who the soldiers escorting them, telling them to get the hell out.
Going up with them to Succoth. So if we see a mixed multitude, we don't see them leaving Egypt. We see them going to Succoth, and we see the Israelites pursuant to Numbers, the 33rd chapter, watching them as they walk off. Right? They left in the sight of the Egyptians.
Right.
That's what the mixed multitude is doing. They're watching the Israelites leave, making sure they get the hell out of there so that the curse can be lifted up off of them. But why is it important? We're going to give 1 Corinthians 10 and 1. We touched on it a little earlier. We can't go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and 1. You know, I just cut somebody with this the other day. Who were the Gentiles? Who were the Corinthians? Oh, those are Gentiles. Well, let's look and see. Why is he talking to Gentiles like this? Go ahead, read that.
1 Corinthians 10 and 1. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant, how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and Salakia, and were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea.
And in the sea. So we can't say that if there's a mixed multitude. We can't say there wasn't no Gentiles. And so therefore, these have to be Israelites. If in fact the narrative implies that there was a mixed multitude going with us through the wilderness. We just can't do it. Now, hold that, and let's just be sure of ourselves. Let's get Exodus 13 and read from 21 to 22, Bible Kushah.
13 and what I?
Exodus 13 and 21 through 22.
Exodus 13 and 21. And the Lord went before them by the day in a pillar of a cloud to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light to go by day and night.
Okay, so that's them being under the cloud right there. But that's the children of Israel we're reading about. So now let's read, go back to 1 Corinthians. We're going to go back and forth a little bit. Let's just recap 1 through 3.
So we doing Corinthians 10:1.
Con. Yeah, I got that. I'll read that and you can stay in Exodus where you at. That kind of helps.
Yeah, that'll help.
All right. Moreover, brethren, I would not that you should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud.
So we read about the cloud. What's next?
And all passed through the sea. And were baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea.
Now get Exodus 16 and 15, Shakar.
Con. Exodus 16 and 15.
Just read that, and once you read verse 15, I want you to skip to verse 35, Bible Kusha.
Con. Exodus 16 and 15. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, it is manna, for they wist not what it was. And Moses said unto them, this is the bread which the Lord has given you to eat.
Now pause. Now let's go into 1 Corinthians and see if it talks about that.
Con. This 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3. And did all eat the same spiritual meats.
See, we can say that now. Now we can say these ain't talking about no Gentiles because this only happened with the Israelites. But if we're gonna stay with the narrative that there was a mixed multitude there too, then we gotta think that there's some Gentiles interwoven amongst the children of Israel at this time, like the Christians were saying.
And so that means that they were there when the covenant was sealed up. No way.
Even though when you go to let me just pull that up myself. Let me just pull that up myself.
I'm gonna pull it up too.
One of my favorites, Psalms 147 and 19. He showed his word unto Jacob and his statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
Right.
Not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Why? Because they wasn't present for the goings on that transpired in the wilderness, including us getting the law, not even eating the same spiritual meat or drinking the same spiritual drink. Now we can use 1 Corinthians to cut the Christians on who these Gentiles are. But if you finish with Exodus 16 and 15, get verse 35 of that same chapter.
And can I read a precept before he reads that too?
So for sure.
Right. This is Exodus 24. This is the covenant getting sealed up, right? 24 and 4. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord and rose up early in the morning and built an altar under the hill and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel.
According to the 12 tribes of Israel and the mixed multitude.
No, according to the 12 tribes of Israel.
Right. So now let's stop adding to the word, man. Let's just stop doing it. The narrative doesn't show a mixed multitude. We're beyond Succoth, which is within the border of Egypt, but we're gonna keep letting the Bible tell its own story, and we just gonna read it.
All praises,
like we ought to do.
Talk about it, Doc. Talk about it.
What's the verse? What's the verse in chapter?
Verse 35. I got it.
So we continue in we in 1 Corinthians 1, and we at verse 4. And then for that, what I want you to get, Brother Shakar, I actually want you to just go ahead and skip to Numbers 20 and 11.
20 and 11. In Exodus, correct?
Yeah. Numbers 20 and 11. Lock you.
20 and 11.
Yeah, you done with
Exodus. You want Exodus 16 and 35, Ak?
Nah, we just going to skip ahead. I was just redundancy for the sake of, You know.
So I got you.
Yeah.
Numbers 20 and 11.
Numbers 20 and 11. After Azariah reads First Corinthians 4.
Yeah, let me pull 1 Corinthians back up. All right, verse 4. And did all drink the same spiritual drink? For they drank of the spiritual rock that followed them.
They drank of that rock that followed them.
In the cloud. And that rock was Hamashiach.
Let me just tell you that when no damn Gentiles drinking of that rock. Read that in Numbers 20, Brother Shakar.
Con. Numbers 20 and 11. And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice, and the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also. And the Lord spoke unto Moses and Aaron, because you believe me not to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them.
He wasn't supposed to smite the rock. He was supposed to speak to the rock unless I'm losing my mind, right? But just to go and show you that that's the children of Israel that was witnessing that. So now let's go back into 1 Corinthians, and I want you to pick up at verse 5 and read through 9.
1 Corinthians chapter 5, you want?
1 Corinthians 1 verses 5 through 9.
1 Corinthians 1, Salakia.
No, that's my bad. I'm moving a little quick. This topic kind of
1 Corinthians chapter 1, what verse 5?
Yeah, 5 through 9, brother.
5 through 9. I got you. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 5. That in everything you are enriched by him in all utterances and in all knowledge, even as the testimony of Christ was confirmed in you.
Oh, you know what? My bad. I'm really tripping, brother. Please forgive me. It's chapter 10, 5 through 9.
Oh, Khan. That was that, Salaki. I got you.
We just going down with the narrative. I'm a little too high right now.
Verse 5, back in 1 Corinthians chapter 10. But with many of them, the Most High was not pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. Who was overthrown in the wilderness? Our brethren, the Israelites. Verse 6. Now these things were an example to the intent we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted.
Now that's a key right there, because if we're going to use this and we're going to say it's only Israelites, then we got to understand it was only the Israelites that fell a lusting in the wilderness, dealing with that so-called mixed multitude. Keep going.
Verse 7. Neither be you idolaters as some of them. As it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Neither let us commit fornication, as some of them committed and fell in one day 23,000. Neither let us tempt Christ, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed of serpents.
Let's get John 3 and 14 real quick, because now we got to go to John 3 and 14. We go to John 3 and 14 to give context to John 3 and 16, right? And we like Israelites that got bit by these serpents. The same way that this serpent was put up on a rod, that's the same way Hamashiach's supposed to be lifted up, after the same manner. So it's for Israelites then, and it's for Israelites now. So why would we jump to the left or to the right of that argumentation by giving a footing to these heathen by implying that there was a mixed multitude in the wilderness when the narrative don't even state that?
That's right, Op.
That's right. Bring it out. Bring it all the way out, King.
John 3 and 14. As Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up.
Why was he lifted up? Let's go back to the narrative that this is touching on. This is just a reference. We want to be able to use this scripture to prove that this scripture is talking about Israelites all the way from John 3 and 14 to 16. Let's go to Numbers 21 and 5.
Gotcha.
Numbers 21 and 5. Numbers 21 and 5.
And I want you to read through 7.
And the people spake against God and against Moses. Wherefore have ye brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread, neither is there any water, and our soul loatheth this light bread. And the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit.
Go ahead.
And the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much people of Israel died.
And much people of who?
Died.
Israel.
And some mixed multitude.
No, the mixed multitude, right.
Right. So we go to John 3:14 and we say this is what John 3:16 is talking about. The Son of Man is being lifted up the way he was lifted up in the wilderness. Right. You know, because he's been likened unto a serpent in other scriptures, like, for example, Isaiah the 6th chapter. We're not going to go there, but get Ezekiel 20 and 34, Robert Prashad.
Ezekiel what?
20. I got you. I got that. This is Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 34.
And Brother Shakar, I want you to get Psalm 78. I want you to hold Psalm 78, and you're going to start reading from 5 when the time comes. So go ahead, Brother Azariah.
And I will bring you out from the people.
Bring you out from the people. This sounds like something familiar, right? Go
ahead. And will gather you out of the countries wherein you were scattered. With a mighty hand.
Remember when the Israelites left with a high hand?
High hand. Talk about it. That's line upon line.
Right. Go ahead.
And a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face, like as I pled with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt.
So when he says pleaded right here, this is no Keith Sweat lyrics. This is talking about that word right there for pleaded. It's not pleaded, it's judged. We see the Israelites getting judged in the wilderness, even in Numbers chapter 11. That rabble, that promiscuous multitude being judged in the wilderness, the same way those Israelites were judged in the wilderness when them snakes came and bit the people because they were complaining and murmuring against the Most High. Unless we saying that the Gentiles is coming too, when it comes to this prophecy about us getting our salvation, let's keep reading. Let's read the implications of the Gentiles getting the being a part of that mixed multitude to begin with. Keep reading up.
And this just to back up, I just wanted to show it. The plead means to judge, by the way. See that? Judge, avenge, condemn, execute. Right? Verse, and I will, this is verse 7, and I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
Are we saying that the mixed multitude that's among the children of Israel to this very day, they get to go into the new covenant now?
Wow.
No, let's keep reading. Let's keep reading.
And I will purge out from among you the rebels.
The rebels. He's going to purge out from among you the promiscuous multitude, right? Those who would not that I reign over them, out of the words of Hamashiach Yahawashi, bring them before me and slay them. That's what's going to happen. So the rebels are going to be purged out. There's not going to be a multitude of promiscuous Israelites that get to remain and walk into the kingdom the same way there wasn't back then. Right? So now let's go ahead and drop that and let's get Psalm 78. And I want Brother Shakar to read from verse 5 to 8. We're going to read from 5 to 8 to get context, because now that we followed the narrative via Numbers, now that we read the narrative via Exodus, we're going to read it via Psalms.
Psalm 78 and 5. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel.
A testimony in Jacob. Go ahead.
Which he commanded our fathers.
Our fathers, Jacob, fathers. Go ahead.
That's a possessive too, pronoun. That they should make them known to their children. that the generation to come might know them,
That's
even
right.
the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children, that they might set their hope in God and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments, and might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation. A generation.
Salakia, rebels, disorderly bunches. Go ahead,
ungrateful. A generation that set not their heart aright, and whose spirit was not steadfast with God.
Now I want you to skip down to verse 10 and hold that tight, my brother. So what you see here is that the testimony has been established in Jacob and an example has been set. Don't you think that it would be very important? It would be a very important example for us to follow in terms of why we shouldn't have no goddamn mixed multitude amongst us. And don't you think that our forefathers who were passing down wisdom like David would have emphasized on that if that was actually a part of the narrative? See, we shouldn't be around them Gentiles, because you see how we got them Israelites killed. Because when we read the entire narrative of the book of Numbers, is that the mixed multitude, that rabble, they fell a lusting. And then it says that the Israelites also fell a lusting when you read the King James. And if you misread it, it does look like it was even the children of Israel was a part of that lusting. No, it's the children of Israel that had the mixed multitude among them. But at the end of the narrative, it says the Israelites got what they complained for. And when it was between their teeth and they was chewing on that flesh, they died. So that would be a good example for why not to follow a multitude of heathens. But it's not there to be used. That's what I'm doing.
And doesn't it tell us in the law, don't follow the multitude to do evil?
Don't follow the multitude to do evil, period. But since we have such an affinity towards Gentiles and heathen, the Most High most definitely would have made sure to emphasize on what happened with the mixed multitude and the Israelites who followed them, as the King James would lead you to believe. So let's keep reading. I want you to pick up at verse 10, Brother Shakar. And we're going to read through 31, just for the narrative's sake.
Psalm 78 and 10. They kept not the covenant of God and refused to walk in his law.
And fire at will, brother. You don't got to read slow on this one. You don't got to read.
And forgot his works and his wonders that he had showed them. Marvelous things did he in the sight of their fathers in the land of Egypt, in the field of Zoan.
Keep in mind that the signs and wonders, they were also for the Israelites to see. Keep that in mind, because going forward, I'm going to go to the strongest argument that somebody might have for a mixed multitude being there in the wilderness. But we're going to use the narrative as it stands to show how, that argument's not strong either. Rogerian argument, right? But keep going.
He divided the sea and caused them to pass through. He made the waters to stand as an heap. In the daytime also he led them with a cloud, and all the night with a light of fire. He clave the rocks in the wilderness, and he gave them drink as out of the great depths. He brought streams also out of the rocks and caused waters to run down like rivers. And they sinned yet more against him by provoking the Most High in the wilderness. And they tempted God in their heart by asking meat for their lust.
For their lust, for the lust of the mixed multitude.
No, for their lust.
It says it's their lust. See, what happens is we see that mixed multitude was tripping, and then the children of Israel, they went lusting also. And then there's a little bit of a loss of accountability there. Now, the children of Israel, there was a bunch among them that was ungrateful and unruly. And they got the meat that they lusted after, and they the ones that got in trouble. Go ahead.
Yea, they spake against God. They said, can God furnish a table in the wilderness? Behold, he smote the rock that the waters gushed out and the streams overflowed. Can he give bread also? Can he provide flesh for his people?
For who?
For his people.
Who is his people?
Khan. Yashra'Allah. Therefore, the Lord heard this and was wroth. So a fire was kindled against Jacob, and anger also came up against Israel.
Against who?
Israel.
Oh, go ahead, Op.
And Jacob, because they believed not in God and trusted not in his salvation.
Keep reading.
Though he had commanded the clouds from above and opened the doors of heaven, and he had rained down manna upon them to eat, and had given them of the corn of heaven. See that? Man did eat angels. Salakia. Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. He caused an east wind to blow in the heaven, and by his power he brought in the south wind. He rained flesh also upon them as dust, and feathered fowls like as the sand of the sea. And he let it all fall in the midst of their camp, round about their habitations. So they did eat and were well filled.
Now watch this.
For he gave them their own desires.
Oh, dagger coming.
They were not estranged from their lust.
They were not estranged from their lust.
But while their meat was yet in their mouths, the wrath of God came upon them and slew the fattest of them, and smote down the children, and smote down the chosen men of Israel.
The who?
The chosen men of Israel.
Not no mixed multitude, my God. So where's that at in the Bible?
And that's plain upon tables.
That in the Bible.
That's plain upon tables.
So now let's move it forward a little bit. Let's look at the narrative in a different part of the Psalms. Get Psalms 106.
Psalms 106.
And I want you to read from 4 through 6 for the context.
Psalms 106, chapter 4. Psalms 106, verse 4. Remember me, O Lord, with the favor that thou bearest unto the people. O visit me with thy salvation, Khan, Salaki, that I may see the good of thy chosen, that I may rejoice in the gladness of thy nation, that I may glory with thy inheritance.
That I might glory with mine inheritance. So we know this is clearly talking about Israelites. Go ahead.
That's right.
We have sinned with our fathers. We have committed iniquity. Right. We have done wickedly.
Right. Can I get a precept too?
Yeah, and when you're done, just go right back there. I want the brother to read from 7 to 48.
Salaki, I can't spell. I just want just to show who the chosen is, right? Deuteronomy 7:6. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God have chosen thee to be a special people unto itself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So that's who the chosen is.
Okay. Psalms 106 and 7. Our fathers understood not thy wonders in Egypt. They remembered not the multitude of thy mercies, but provoked him at the sea, even at the Red Sea. Nevertheless, he saved them for his name's sake, that he might make his mighty power be known. He rebuked the Red Sea also, and it was dried up. So he led them through the depths as through the wilderness. And he saved them from the hand of him that hated them and redeemed them from the hand of the enemy.
From the Egyptians, out of their hand. So they couldn't cleave.
Right.
Go ahead.
And the waters covered their enemies. There was not one of them left.
The waters covered their enemies. There wasn't one of them left.
Not one.
How the mixed multitude come out? Oh.
Wow. That mixed multitude, hey, they became spiritual Israelites. That's what happened.
Right. That's right. I'm spiritually from the tribe of Judah, huh?
All right, keep going.
Then they believed his words. They sang his praise. That's right. They soon forgot his works. They waited not for his counsel, but lusted exceedingly in wilderness and tempted God in the desert.
They lusted in the wilderness.
And he gave them their requests, but sent leaniness unto their soul.
Yeah, he sent leanness to their souls. So he
lock your leanness.
Mm-hmm.
They envied Moses also in the camp and earned the saint of the Lord. The earth opened up and swallowed up Salakia. The earth opened and swallowed up Dathan and covered the company of Abram.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And a fire was kindled in their company, and the flame burned up the wicked that made a calf in Horeb and worshiped the molten image.
Mm-hmm.
Thus they changed their glory into the similitude of an ox that eateth grass.
Mm-hmm.
They forgot God, their Savior, which had done great things in Egypt, wondrous works in the land of Ham, and terrible things by the Red Sea.
In the land of Ham.
Therefore,
Mizrahim
he
goes back
said
to Ham.
He would destroy them, had not Moses, his chosen, stood before him in the breach to turn away his wrath, lest he should destroy them. They despised the pleasant land. They believed not his word, but murmured in their tents and hearkened not unto the voice of the Lord. Therefore, he lifted up his hand against them to overthrow them in the wilderness, to overthrow their seed also among the nations, and to scatter them in the lands. They joined themselves also unto Belapor and ate sacrifices of the dead. Thus they provoked him to anger with their inventions, and plague break in upon them. Then stood Phineas and executed judgment, and also the plague was stayed.
So you know what? I just wanted to do a lot of redundancy, low. So let's skip forward. I want you to get 2nd Esdras, chapter 1, and I want you to read verses 5 through 6. More narrative.
2nd Esdras is what?
2nd Esdras 1, verses 5 through 7. So we read in these scriptures that are showing the narrative so that we can ask the question, why when the narrative is broken down again and again and again, why we don't never see no mixed multitude? And in the place of what the mixed multitude had done, supposedly, we see the Israelites are the ones doing it.
That's right. In every narrative that you went through, King.
2nd Esdras 1 and 5. Go thy way and show my people their sinful deeds, and their children their wickedness which they have done against me, that they may tell their children's children. Because the sins of their fathers are increased in them, for they have forgotten me and have offered unto strange gods. I'm not I even he that bought, am I not I even he that bought them out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage? But they have provoked me unto wrath and despised my counsel. Pull thou off then the hair of thy head and cast all evil upon them, for they have not been obedient unto my law, but is a rebellious people. We. How long shall I forbear them into whom I have done so much good?
Read all the way down to 20.
Many kings have I destroyed for their sakes. Pharaoh with his servants and all his power have I smitten down. All the nations have I destroyed before them, and in the east I have scattered the people of two provinces, even of Tyrus and Sidon, and have slain all their enemies.
He gave us that land, and he killed all the enemies that was in the way.
That's right.
Speak thou therefore unto them, saying, thus saith the Lord, I led you through the sea, and in the beginning gave you a large and safe passage.
I led you through the sea. I led you through the sea, the children of Israel.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Gave you a large and safe passage. I gave you Moses for a leader and Aaron for a priest. I gave you light in a pillar of fire, and great wonders have I done among you. Yet have you forgotten me, saith the Lord.
Right.
Thus saith the Almighty Lord, the quails were as a token to you.
As a token to you. Token to the Israelites.
I gave you tents for your safeguard. Nevertheless, you murmured there.
So let me ask you this. Did the Gentiles get a token?
Nope.
It's just the children of Israel.
That's right.
We're going to fast forward it. We're going to fast forward it through the Spirit. Let's get, we already did Numbers 33. We don't need to do that again.
Hold on. All praise to the Most High Yah. I got to give it up.
We almost done. All praises.
Con, let's get it and finish up strong. What you need up?
Now we're gonna go to the heavyweight scripture. So if you was gonna try to prove there was a mixed multitude, this would be the best place to do it, and you'd be reading the King James version because of how this is rendered. So the wisdom of Solomon is what I want, and the quote unquote cut showing that there's a mixed multitude is in verse 6, chapter 16. But we're gonna start at 15. Wisdom of Solomon 15, and I want you to start reading from verse 13 for context.
Wisdom of Solomon 15 and 13.
Yeah, and I want you to read through 19 and stop there.
Con.
Brother Azariah, if you could get it ready in either the RSV, the GNT, or the WEB translation.
Okay. All right. While he reading it, I'm gonna be getting that.
For sure.
Wisdom of Solomon 15 and 13. For this man that of earthly matter, Salakia, for this man that of earthly matter maketh brittle vessels and graven images, knoweth himself to offend above all others. And all the enemies of thy people that hold them in subjection are most foolish and are more miserable than very babes.
So we're talking about the other nations. These other nations are the ones that are into idolatry, not the children of Israel, not when we in our right goddamn mind.
Con.
You say you want it in the GNT?
Yeah, we're gonna keep that there as a parallel, just in case we see any funny renderings, because this is one of the ugliest renderings in the KJV when you do it.
That's right.
Solomon.
Right.
So we just gonna hold that on standby. But keep going, Brother Short.
For they counted all the idols of the heathens to be gods, which neither have the use of eyes to see, nor noses to draw breath, nor ears to hear, nor fingers of hands to handle. As for their feet, they are slow to go.
They can't do nothing. They can't go nowhere, see nothing, smell nothing, taste nothing.
That's right.
For man made them, and he that borrowed his own spirit fashioned them. But no man can make a God like unto himself. For being mortal, he worketh a dead thing with wicked hands. For he himself is better than the things which he worshiped. Whereas he lived once but they never. Man, that's heavy. That's heavy, y'all. And yea, they worship those beasts also that are most hateful, for being compared together, some are worse than others.
Right. So this is getting ready. This is talking about the Egyptians now. It's zeroing in on the Egyptians, as we're going to see in chapter 16. It's talking about how they worship snakes, they worship crocodiles and things like that. Some of the most animals you can imagine. Go ahead.
Neither are they beautiful so much. Neither are they beautiful so much to be desired in respect of beasts, but they went without the praise of God and his blessings.
All right, now let's turn into verse 16. Keep going.
You mean chapter 16? Kyle, I got you.
Yeah, chapter 16, Salakia. So we just read that previous chapter to give us the context of how chapter 16 is starting off.
Right. Absolutely.
So just start shooting when you got it, Shakar.
16:1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, by the light were they punished worthily, and by the multitude of the beasts tormented.
So tying it all together. Tying it all together. Saying they worship ugly animals, and they did it so much so they made idols out of them. So for that same reason, they were worthy to be punished by them ugly ass beasts that they made statues out of and then worship. Go ahead.
Instead of which punishment, dealing graciously with thy own people, thou preparest for them meat of a strange taste.
So right there, Azariah, that's why I want you to factor in them other translations. So what this is saying, and I can say this after examining these translations, is that it's saying that when it sent them animals, it's all good. So when it sent them animals and them weird creatures out to torment the Egyptians as part of the plagues, you know, that was meant to torment them for the things that they did to the children of Israel, and because the Most High has a sense of humor.
Can I read this in the GNT?
Yeah, GNT. You can read it in all of them if you can find them.
I'm a get the other ones you called, but the only one I pulled so far is the GNT. Verse 2 says, "But you, O Lord, did not punish your people in this way. Instead, you showed them kindness. You sent them quails to eat." Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hold on tight though, because when you read the KJV, when you read the KJV and you read this whole thing down, it looks like it's saying that the Israelites were dealt with in a certain way, and the Egyptians were there also, but they couldn't quite deal with the way that the Israelites were being dealt with because they were used to a whole different lifestyle. What this is doing is distinguishing between the way that the Egyptians are judged and the way that the Israelites are judged. So that's why it's making this transition. So it's saying while the heathen are punished this way, punished with the same beast that they worship, the Israelites were shown mercy. And when they were hungry, they were given birds of a strange taste to stir up their appetites.
Right.
Go ahead. Read what you have, Brother Azariah.
But you did not punish your people in this way. Instead, you showed them kindness. You sent them quails to eat, a rare, delicious food to satisfy their hunger. You did all this so that the idolaters would, when they were hungry, would be unable to eat because of the disgusting creatures sent to them.
So what it looks like it's saying is that the Egyptians that were there, they wouldn't be able to deal with it. They wouldn't be able to deal with the way the food tasted. It's not saying that. It's saying that they wouldn't be able to deal with their affliction, while the Israelites were given something a lot lighter to deal with.
Right. Your people, however, suffered hunger only a short while, and then they ate the finest food. It was necessary for the oppressor to suffer relentless need, while your people show how their enemies were being tormented.
So remember, the Most High did these things as a sign to the Israelites too, as we read in the narrative earlier. So the Israelites, they're bearing witness to how the Most High destroyed the Egyptians with these various plagues. They might have complained along the way, saying, this is making things harder on us. But in the long run, they got to see that the Most High, punishment after punishment, went in on the Egyptians, and it was relentless. There wasn't a cure for what he did. It was that one plague led to another, until their firstborn was died. While the Israelites, the worst thing that happened to them was they were given so much flesh to eat. The Most High said that they were going to begin to loathe the sight of it. Right? Numbers 11, I'm going to read that real quick. Numbers 11 and 18. And say thou unto the people, sanctify yourself against the morrow, and ye shall eat flesh. For ye have wept in the ears of Yahweh, saying, who shall give us flesh to eat? For it was well with us in Egypt. Therefore the Lord will give you flesh, and ye shall eat. Ye shall not eat 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, neither 10 days, nor 20 days, in a whole month, until it come out of your nostrils, and it be loathsome unto you, because that ye have despised Yahweh, which is among you, and have wept before him, saying, why came we forth out of Egypt? Just to give you a little bit more context. But keep reading, Brother Azariah.
Verse 5. When terrible fierce snakes attacked your people and were killing them with their poison, you did not remain angry long enough to destroy your people.
Are you able to switch over to the KJV so you can?
Yeah, I got the KJV.
So show how weird that sounds in the KJV.
Verse 5. For when the horrible fierceness of beasts came upon these, and they perished with the sting of crooked serpents, thy wrath endured not forever. Right? Verse 6. But they were troubled for a small season.
It was a small season. Why? Because it was temporary that they'd be bitten by them serpents. People would die. He also put that brass serpent up for healing.
That's right.
All right. So there was a remedy to it, is the point. Keep going.
That they might be admonished, having a sign of salvation, to put them in remembrance of the commandments of thy law. For he that turned himself toward it was not saved by the thing that he saw, but by thee. Thou art the Savior of all.
So this taught them a lesson that it's not no idols, it's the Most High. Even when he set up the brass serpent, the point was that it's the Most High that does the saving, not some damn object.
That's right.
Right.
And this is all to teach the children of Israel a lesson. There's no mixed multitude here, by the way.
No.
Right? But it's a compare and contrast. That's what this author is doing.
Exactly, like side by side, point for point.
Right. For them, the biting of grasshoppers and flies killed, neither was there found any remedy for their life.
So this was confusing. It says for them, so it jumps so quick that it looks like this is talking about the same in the same space, and that the Israelites ain't getting bit, but the heathen are, and that's not what it's saying. This is what happened in Egypt, what the brother Azariah is reading. Go ahead.
That's right. For they were worthy to be punished by such. But thy sons, not the very teeth of venomous dragons, overcome. For the mercies was ever by them and healed them.
And just read the verse 16, and we're going to go to 19, and we're going to wrap it up there.
For they were pricked, that they should remember thy words, and were quickly saved, that not falling into deep forgetfulness, they might be continually mindful of thy goodness. For it was neither herb nor mottling plastering that restored them to health, but thy word, O Lord, which healeth all things.
Right. So we read about how the Most High gave us herbs for meat and herbs for medicine. It's not even really about the herbs, it's about the Most High. Because you can find the most potent herbs and you can put them on your wound. If the Most High don't want you to be healed, it's over for you. You can know all the chants and all the rituals in whatever book, but the Most High ain't with you. He ain't with you.
Watch this. For the Most High Yahweh has power over life and death. thou leadest to the gates of hell and bringest up again. Right? A man indeed killeth through his malice, and the spirit, when it is gone forth, returneth not, neither the soul received up cometh again. But it is not possible to escape thine hand. For the ungodly that deny to know thee were scourged by the strength of thine arm. With strange rain, hail, showers were they persecuted, that they could not avoid, and through fire were they consumed.
And let's go ahead and drop that and go to 19.
Verse 19. And at another time,
chapter 19.
Oh, chapter 19, Salakia.
Chapter 19 and 1.
Gotcha.
And it's pretty much just going to recap everything that we just read. So
that's right.
To touch on, we've gone everywhere.
Hey, this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 19 and 1. As for the ungodly, wrath came upon them without mercy unto the end, for he knew before what they would do.
So the ungodly got wrath without mercy, and the Israelites got wrath with mercy. That's Israel right. Should be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. They shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end, says Isaiah.
Right.
The book of Isaiah chapter 45, 17. Go ahead.
Right. And just like where we was reading in the law, where it says that I think that was in Numbers, that he drowned all of them in the Red Sea. Right? Mm-hmm. How that having given them leave to depart and sent them hastily away, they would repent and pursue them. Wow. Mm-hmm. For whilst they were yet mourning and making lamentation.
You see, it says they sent them hastily away. So when we're reading the narrative, when we're looking at the linguistics, saying it looked like the Israelites were pressed upon and pushed up out of the land of Egypt. And that's why the mixed multitude was there, making sure they had all their shit and it was ready to go without a moment's notice and with great urgency.
That's right.
This is reflecting that. Go ahead.
For whence they were yet mourning and making lamentation at the graves of the dead, and added another foolish device and pursued them as fugitives whom they had entreated to be gone. Entreated, sent them out with a high hand, pushed them out hastily. Right? For the destiny whereof they were worthy drew them unto this end, and made them forget the things that had already happened, that they might fulfill the punishment which was wanting to their torments. And that thy people might pass a wonderful way, thy people, again, and that thy people might pass a wonderful way, right? But they might find a strange death. Contrast. Verse 6, for the whole creature in his power, and Salakia, for the whole creature in his proper kind was fashioned again anew, serving the peculiar commandments that were given unto them, that thy children might be kept without hurt.
Mm-hmm.
As namely a cloud shadowing the camp, and where water stood before dry land appeared, and out of the Red Sea a way without impediment, Salakia, without impediment, and out of the violent stream a green field.
Mm-hmm.
Where though all thy people went, they were defended with thine hand, seeing thine marvelous strange wonders. For they went at large.
So they went
at large like horses and leaped like lambs, praising thee, O Lord, who has delivered them.
So that's emphasizing on how good it felt to be away from these damn Egyptians.
That's
right.
When
it says at large, you know how it says, criminal at large. He's
that's
on
right.
the loose. It was on the loose.
Mm-hmm. God.
They was doing the Deion Sanders.
Right, hey, they was doing the Heisman pose too. Right? Happy they was going. Verse 10. For they were yet mindful of the things that were done while they sojourned in the strange land, how the ground brought forth flies.
So this is the narration in full, just regarding the events for the children of Israel. But what it does is shows you what that contrast is trying to show you in chapter 16, the side by side. They're aware of what happened to those other people. It wasn't that they were seeing those people experience those things right along with them in the wilderness while they were experiencing what they were experiencing in the wilderness. They weren't experiencing these things together. The Israelites saw the Egyptians being punished from afar off, and they kept these things in mind while they were in the wilderness.
That's right. And how the river was cast up, a multitude of frogs instead of fish. But afterwards, they saw a new generation of fowls. When being led with their appetite, they asked delicate meats.
They asked delicate meats after being led by their appetite.
By their own I thought it was the mixed multitude. For quails came up unto them from the sea for their contentment. And punishment came unto the sinners. See, this is like the brother Ash is pointing out. We're going to reiterate it. This is a compare and contrast, right? This is, you see what happened to the Egyptians, and then vice we see how the Most High dealt with the Israelites. He dealt with them more harshly. He showed the Israelites more lenience. And this is the author Solomon calling this to mind, and for you to read it in contrast to see how good it is to have the Most High Yahweh be your power and be part of that chosen nation, vice being a heathen. And punishment came upon the sinners, not without former signs, by force of thunder, for they suffered justly according to their own wickedness, insomuch as they used a more hard and hateful behavior towards strangers.
So go ahead and stop right there. So that's how they learn to be prejudiced towards who they was going to be hanging around. Was through the example that was set leading up to the Exodus, the Most High plaguing them Egyptians, tormenting them the way that they did. And all those ways were listed leading up to this point. I'm going to go back to verse 16. This is the part that people have saw and figured to be talking about a mixed multitude being among us. So this is Wisdom of Solomon 16:3. I'm actually going to start at 2. Instead of which punishment, dealing graciously with thine own people, thou prepared for them a meat of a strange taste, even quails to stir up their appetite, to the end that they, desiring food, might, for the ugly sight of the beasts sent among them, loathe even that, which they must needs desire. But these, suffering penury for a short space, might be partakers of a strange taste. So that word penury is talking about hardship, basically. They were suffering hardship for a short space, but they might be made partakers of a strange taste, that being the quail. Right? And then what it says in verse 4 was, for it was requisite that upon them exercising tyranny should come penury, which they could not avoid. But to these, it should only be showed how their enemies were tormented. So what it looks like is the Egyptians were the ones that were the mixed multitude, and they wanted food. So what happened was the Most High sent quails, and only the Israelites were able to tolerate it. So the Egyptians were the ones that were hungry because they didn't want to eat the quail, but the Israelites were appreciative. There's one translation that goes that far as to imply that, but that's not what we see when we read it in consistency. We can read it in 2 other translations that don't put it that way.
That's right, because it was necessary for the oppressors to suffer relentless need, while your people saw how their enemies were tormented. They saw how they were tormented through the plagues in Egypt.
That relentless need,
Contrast.
facing the water supply, their water turned into blood. Their food source died after getting boils. And then they died, the firstborn of them died.
Right. And then he hardened their heart, and then more of them got drowned in the Red Sea. Wow.
So, you know, that's the simple way of looking at it. We read the narrative again and again and again. And what we don't find is any mixed multitude. We looked at it using a linguistic approach. We don't even see the same descriptive words when it comes to mixed multitude. When we do see a mixed multitude with regards to Egypt, we see them within the borders of Egypt and not beyond.
That's right.
But hey, did you have anything you wanted to add to that, Cap?
The only thing I'm gonna add, Chief, is that you clearly show in this breakdown that first of all, the mixed multitude didn't even leave with us, right? There's no proof to show that when we left up out of the land of Egypt that they went with us. They journeyed with us from Ramses to Succoth, which the Jewish Encyclopedia says, and some historians assert that was still in the land of Egypt. We spoiled them, right? And they was like, all right, we're going to give you this because Yahweh put that fear of us upon them. And they was like, y'all hurry up and get the hell up out of here.
Yeah. See, when you look at the so-called, when you look at some of the scholars, they say they will assert that the Kaf was kind of like a military garrison somewhat, where soldiers would perch up or they would post up to defend the borders of Egypt.
Right.
You know, so how do you defend the borders of Egypt? By being on the border of Egypt and defending this shit.
That's right. To keep the post, to keep the watch, right? And when they journeyed there, there was some Egyptians there. They spoiled them, and the Egyptians was getting them out with a high hand. That's what the scriptures say.
Mm-hmm.
Hastily. It didn't say that they was tagging along with them.
So Ramses would have been where they was spoiling the Egyptians at, and the Egyptians would have booted them out from there, pushing them up out of the land all the way to Succoth.
That's right.
Right. So that's what we see in the narrative. So I just challenge brothers to read into this. You know, make sure you're not pushing salvation, because at the end of the day, you know, you're giving the devil a leg up a little bit when you're pushing the narrative that there was a mixed multitude. Even though they died right there, you don't want to give these people any chances. And if the Most High is not giving them any chances, if he's not putting that in the narrative, neither should we. We just got to start to read these things more carefully.
That's right. And then again, if they came out with us and then they got killed at that point, then the Christian apologists could assert that they were there in Exodus chapter 24, going through the bond of the covenant. So that leaves us as a nation with our jaw open. And as we brought out, as our chief brought out, Brother Ash, that's not what occurred. That's not what was going on according to the Bible narrative. And the precept in Wisdom of Solomon 16, we have to read in context, going back to chapter 15, to understand the comparison, right? What was going on with the Egyptians, vice how he dealt with the Egyptians, vice how he dealt with the children of Israel, right? And it's really just a poor rendering there, to be honest, because when you do the comparative translations, you honestly clearly see the compare and contrast between what the children of Israel saw go on with the Egyptians and how they brought that to mind as they were murmuring and being rebels, being rebellious, doing what Israelites do, being stiff-necked.
Right.
All right. That's why he made our foreheads hard against their foreheads, right? And he sent us to a rebellious house. Hey, that's all I got there. That's all I got there, Chief.
God. And with that, stop teaching that sisters can't wear pants according to the law. And just stand on your manly dignity if you just don't want your woman wearing pants. But just stop adding to the law altogether.
Right.
Yeah, we should have touched on stop telling people they need to have a marriage contract and a marriage license from a white man in order to get married according to the law.
Wow.
Just stop adding to the law.
Right. And by the way, sex is marriage. How can a parent get the token of the marriage, which we know what the token is, right? without the sex being what makes the marriage.
Man, I had a grown man tell me, he said, sex is a marriage. I'm gonna prove it. Here's why. And then he did the Kevin Hart thing. Here's why, people. And then he said, if you have sex with a tree, you're not married. If you have sex with I think he said, if you have sex with an animal, you're not married. And if you have sex with another man, you're not married. Something stupid like that. And it's like, you know, I feel bad for you, sister. And I feel bad for the children of some of these men. But just stick to the laws. Just stick to the laws. They will guide you. They will show you how marriage is instituted between a man and a woman through sex. Duh, you can't have sex with a tree and get married. Who even thinks of that?
Right?
But with that, stick to the law. We're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, by Shema Mashiach, Yahweh Shai, and Shalom.
Hey, shalom, shalom,
Hey,
family.
good work, brother.
Come.